Welcome back to Bunny Banter, the first and only podcast for everything Killer Bunnies. I'm your host Matt, here with co-host Mikey.
Hello.
And as a guest today, we have, of course, Chris.
I promise I'm not eating Cheetos again.
Yay!
Yay! Yes, we got
It was an accident. I was hungry. I needed Cheetos.
Accidentally ate Cheetos.
The previous episode will now further be known as
Bunny
Cheeto
Bites.
Banter.
Bunny
Bites. Bunny Bites, yeah. Sorry.
That'd be 2 episodes ago. What are we talking about today, Mikey?
Today we are talking about the red booster deck.
Yay! So yeah, we're continuing our booster review series that we're doing every other episode. So every 4 weeks. Today talking about red. So as usual, if you haven't caught the previous episodes of the series, we will have one ban card is what we call it, which is perhaps a card that we don't like to have played against us, or we don't like to draw, whatever the reason we don't like this card. And then our top 3 favorite cards from the set. And we'll each give our band card in our top 3. So going right into it, my band card. Oh, hold on. Did I mess it up? I think I messed up. No, I didn't mess up. Okay. I tried to do that last time too. My band card is Zeptepi. It's a play immediately. I'll actually read the card off here since we're getting into a bit more unfamiliar territory with the red booster. Maybe used once by or given to any first-time player who may take any save special or very special card from each adjacent player. Reminder that this is a play immediately. The main reason I have this as a ban card is not because it's toxic or disruptive, although it can be a little bit on the higher value end, but because the condition to have a first-time player tends to go with this card being in the red booster, it tends to go against my philosophy of teaching new players with only starter set. So in general, this card will never be given to a first-time player in our groups. However, a commonly unknown thing about this card, unique rule in the bunny bits, talk about obscure rules again, episode 6. Can you believe that was over 10 episodes ago? But anyways.
This is episode 21.
It's been a while. Anyways, the obscure rule for this card is that if no one qualifies as a first-time player, the person who drew it actually gets to use it, which is a very high tempo swing in some cases. If you steal a very impactful special, very special, like say white stuff or super supply surprise, any of those very high value specials, it could be a very high value card. So, but not high enough that I would consider it toxic enough to be on my ban list. However, I mainly put on my ban card just because the first time player clause doesn't tend to see use in our group since we always teach with starter set. So that's my ban card. Chris, what's your ban?
My ban is Mystery Urn. I enjoy Mystery Urn, don't get me wrong. It's more the fact that I have been the victim of Mystery Urn many, many times. It's one of those cards when you play it and the person that played it immediately rolls a 10, and then everybody else is screwed until somebody rolls a 12, where it's in case you get the pot. In our circles, Matthew and I are very convinced that our purple die is weighted by air bubbles in the inside of it. So it seems like you can never roll a 12 ever on it. So oftentimes playing Mystery Urn means this is a complete, let's start the game over except one person has all the stuff, or the bank just took it all. I have a very similar feeling to Mystery Urn that Mikey does about the Giarnik.
Oh.
It's just I know I'm not gonna win it, therefore I don't want to lose all my stuff. So I'm praying, please roll a 12. Please roll a 12 when I still have carrots. Ah! Death.
Classic.
It is fun though. Don't get me wrong. It's a very fun card, and it's in the same category as what's it called, Matthew? The Norwegian buddy ship card.
Leaf Keratin?
Yeah, Leaf Keratin. It's very similar. It's got to, it's taking something, it's collecting it. It might end up somewhere else. It's got a good vibe to it.
Poverty
But
poker maybe is a better example.
kind of.
A little
Yeah,
bit.
that's true. I feel like with poverty poker, I have a good chance to win. But this one, no, no. Especially when there's a high roll right away, I feel is really bad.
Oh,
So,
toxic. There was one remix game that we played with Quincy that was really toxic with Mr. and where the game was close to ending, and this is a remix game, so it's 15 carats. So Mr. and actually has a relatively decent chance at completely going through and making us lose everything. So we played it, and the game lasted another hour and a half because of it. On a remix game. Oh,
toxic card. It's definitely part of the royal. Someday Matthew will make an episode of 12 cards that everybody needs to know. This might be one of them. Just saying.
okay.
Hall of Fame it, Jeff. Hall of Fame it.
Hall of Fame. There's no ban list.
It's Hall of Fame it.
There's no Killer Bunnies rotation.
I'm done with it. Discard it. The worst part is Matthew can get it off alliteration, which is disgusting.
Yeah. Both
That's
both
not right.
Mikey and I can get it off of alliteration because the
Yes.
word the doesn't
Yes.
count, so the first letter is M.
Ah,
One of the very many high value cards of alliteration situation.
Mhm.
We should
you know
have
what's even better though? It has synergy with much more, which is even more toxic.
oh,
Ugh.
we should
Imagine having a triplet. Imagine having a triplet, losing the mystery yarn on your first run card, and then playing much more.
oh,
Oh,
nasty.
not right. It's
Nasty.
not right.
Nasty. We should almost have an entire episode on cards like alliteration situation where some players have a very high benefit over others.
We should have an alliteration situation. Yeah. that'd
There
be
you
great.
go. Write it down. Topic idea for 6 episodes from now. Ha.
I think the same should be done with retrieval though. When to play it, when not to play it.
Well, yes, but the episode I'm thinking is more so philosophically, what does it mean that this player is more optimal than this player?
Oh, okay.
Like M is a much better layer than K. What does that mean for the meta?
Yeah, K is sad. I just get money.
Yeah. Gotta get that 20.
20
Okay.
bucks is 20 bucks.
Hey, that actually makes the discard relevant for the dollar. Finally, I found the edge case. Vouchers are now relevant. Ah, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Mikey, what's your band card?
My band card is Rainbow because this card is toxic. Okay, so I'm going to read what it says here. It says, may be given to any player who must roll the dice. All bunnies that are the same color or half color as the lowest die rolled are killed. If black is the lowest die rolled, then all the bunnies die. Players isolated by barriers are protected. So if you play this card, and you have to have a bunny in order to play this card. There is a chance that all of your bunnies will die or some of your bunnies will die no matter what. Because the dies you roll are violet, orange, green, yellow, blue, black, red, and pink. And so if you have any of those colors, violet, orange, green, yellow, blue, red, or pink, and you give this card to somebody and they roll the dice, you have a chance of your bunny dying. And say if you don't, if you have like a specialty bunny or celebrity bunny or something like that, and they roll a black die, then all your bunnies die. I just think that sometimes it can be warranted. If there's a really toxic, aggressive player and you need to just get rid of all the bunnies in the bunny circle, or you need to get rid of. Sometimes it's worth it to sacrifice your own bunnies, but I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like the amount of risk that is involved with this particular card.
Isn't it a Rambo reference?
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this card I haven't
This,
actually seen played that much. It really, to make it safe, you really have to enclose yourself in barriers because it will only do its effect within barrier section, should we call it? So if a section of the blind circle is isolated, however big the section, you play rainbow in that section, that's the only section affected. So yeah, it's very risky. I completely agree. If you don't have that barrier set up, which requires two barriers, so that's a lot of
Yeah.
work.
yes, it is. Is there any other cards that counteract it? Like if you had like any like bunny modifiers?
Bunny modifiers besides Halo, no.
Hmm.
I'm trying to remember if one of the very specials counteracts Rainbow. And I don't think I've ever used it to counteract Rainbow, but I think it might. I think Magic Spatula can do it, maybe? Am I correct?
That sounds right.
That
Hmm.
sounds right to me, too. I can check
Oh, I got it.
really quick. You got?
Yeah, I just looked it up. Ugh.
Yep, Magic Spatula has it on its clauses. It also has Mystery Urn, by the way.
Ugh.
So, there it
Honestly, though,
is.
look at all the list of Magic Spatula. It has everything that we're talking about
Oh,
as far as
yeah.
talks. It's got low jack, Kojak too.
LoJack, Kojak, as soon as we get to that booster, oh,
Any roaming
instant
red.
ban. LoJack, Kojak is instant ban. I
I
went.
remember when I used to think low jack, Kojak was good. And
Oh,
I don't think I ever got punished by it except for more recently.
it's so mean. It's so mean. Okay, let's move on to the top three, though. More positive note. My number
Yay!
three is the Red Sinister Bunny. A bit of a surprise. The Red Booster, of course, features the Red Bunnies, and they're just staple bunnies, honestly. Even within full set, with however many expansions we've gotten, several of them are still quite strong. The obvious contenders of perhaps the two strongest red bunnies are the red Gleeful, which is $3 per turn, and the red Timid with its rerolls. I tend to prefer the third choice, at least what I consider the third best, of the red Sinister Bunny, because it puts the opponents in an awkward situation where they really don't want to target it with weapons, because if they do, they could get punished. But if they don't target with weapons, they're getting punished just by leaving it up. It puts them in a conundrum where it's bad if they don't target it, because then I have a bunny alive, and it's bad if they target it, because then they have a risk of taking the retaliation. Put some clovers on this guy, you got a bunny that's going to last for you for a while. You know, Staple bunny for setting up a really nice bunny circle. Put this in the middle of two important bunnies. Ranged weapons will be difficult to target you with. All that fun stuff. Very important bunny placement strategies that the inexperienced player might not realize right away. They'll see red Gleeful, red Timid. Those are great. And those are definitely higher value than this in pretty much every case. But this one supports those in some sense. So that's my number three, the red Sinister Bunny. What's your number three, Chris?
I put bankruptcy. It's a fun punish card. um, I feel like especially in if you is red considered the next expansion, Matthew?
Right.
As
Yep.
far as money value goes, uh, full set you can get away with losing money a little easier because we have metal exchange, which you can get stuff back quicker. But as far as blue, yellow to red, bankruptcy feels really good when you dump it on someone with $20. Um, it's a good out for those that save on the half price coupons and the double no troubles. And in full set, oftentimes there's a player that has $50+ and they just lose it all. I feel like money is the blood of killer bunnies, so having a destructive card like this really helps you.
Okay. It's almost as though Jeff realized right away, hey, Double No Trouble and Half Price Coupon are really good cards. Let's counter them. Haha.
Yeah.
Combos excellently with wheels.
Oh
Oh
no.
no.
Oh.
You thought you were playing around wheels, and in reality you were playing into bankruptcy. Haha.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Imagine having a triplet
Oh
playing
no.
bankruptcy and then wheels.
I've been there.
Oh
Oh,
no.
seems good.
Imagine. Imagine having a bankruptcy and wheels and your opponent decides to play top run rotate and then you get their half price coupon.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no. High value card. High value, high value. Watch out for bankruptcy. You can always be scared of a card like this when it literally has a card that counters only it. Well, diverse portfolio counters triple no trouble, bad results as well, but still. Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay. Mikey, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Dude, Where's My Carrot? All of the large carrot cards are turned face down. The red die is rolled, and if the player can say who owns the carrot, then he will take the carrot from the opponent or Kabbalah's market. This card is a fun card to play, especially when you're doing tabletop simulator. Because what you can do is while everybody else has their turns, is you just scootily doot around the table and take a peek at everybody's carrot cards and write down what numbers they are. And then when you roll the die, you know exactly who has it. It's a great time.
It rewards
That's why I like this
yeah,
one.
rewards players who pay attention. Steal 2 carrots, value. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing
Oh,
I don't like about this card is the obscure rule attached to it. Perhaps this is just something that's unfortunate with the red booster since it is one of the earliest expansions. There is a clause in the bunny bits where if you guess wrong, you have to return a carrot, and that's nowhere written on the card, so I didn't actually know that for quite a long time.
Yep.
So today everyone learned. If you fail, dude, where's my carrot? You have to return a carrot.
The more you know.
Fun fact, I think, if I remember right, you can even play this card on an opponent and force them to guess, which is a weird thought. I'm trying to remember if that clause is in the bunny bits too. But that's definitely an edge case, giving them an opportunity to steal a carrot, but they will lose a carrot if they guess wrong. That's an
Yeah.
edge case. I think you'd just rather steal the carrots yourself, I think.
But now here's the
imagine.
thing, is they can, I mean, they're not going to be prepared for it. So the likelihood that
Exactly.
they're going to know, especially if there's a lot of carrots out.
Quite true, quite true.
Imagine playing it with kelpies.
Oh, nasty.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Play,
Kelp.
dude, where's my carrot on your opponent when you have kelpies?
Oh no.
And it's a
I mean,
two-player
sure you can
game.
guess it's in there, but
Well,
it
you
might not
you
be.
can't even assume that because if you haven't been paying attention, you have no idea how many specials to carrots they have because they're the same stack under Kelpies.
Yep.
You have no idea. Oh no. There's a reason
The other thing
Kelpies is my
is
number one
if you have
card from
kelpies,
Creature Feature.
you have to remember then if you have kelpies and you're planning on doing this, not that you can necessarily plan ahead on this, but you might be able to. If you have kelpies, you have to remember that when you draw carrots, don't say the name of who it is out loud because I do that all the time.
Oh yeah.
Slide it underneath.
Very stealthy. Okay, those were our number 3 picks. Moving on to the number 2. I have an interesting one here because it's very unique. We got Cruise Missile Prime. It's a weapon level 9. That's very important. I'll mention why in a second. So it may be placed on any blind roams board clockwise. Players roll the red die as Cruise Missile Prime visits their bunnies. The first player to roll prime number on the red die detonates the missile. Target bunny must roll higher than 9. Adjacent bunny is higher than 8. So the interesting thing about this card. First of all, it's interesting independently because it's a roaming red, but it's not actually dealing damage until it finally explodes. So it's similar, slightly weaker than Sea Whiz Mount, a weapon from Yellow Booster or Blue. I think it's Yellow. Which of course is weapon level 10, adjacent 9. This one's weapon level 9, adjacent 8. So it's quite similar to that one, but you don't know where it will trigger. So it's very interesting timing things, risk versus reward. Maybe you buy a red pawn to mitigate the risk, and then it's not your fault if it happens to explode on somebody that you weren't necessarily wanting it to explode on. You can't be blamed for that. They are the one that rolled the die. So that's interesting in itself. But the very interesting thing about this card, it is in fact the only ranged weapon that can be affected by the Manilith. Because the Manilith only affects weapons 1 through 9. This is the only ranged weapon that's level 9. The Manilith doubles range. So, because of this card, I actually did the math of what does it actually look like to quote-unquote double range. With simple weapons like the Kitchen Whisk, double range means a single target bunny affects adjacent. Mathematically, then we can say single target's a value of 1, adjacent's a value of 2. This card affects adjacent, so now a value 2 is doubled, that's a value of 4. This card actually becomes a stray asteroid, affecting bunnies 3 spaces away. Which is unexpected when doubling the range if you don't actually do the math there. But it becomes a roaming red stray asteroid that you don't know when it will explode, and that's exciting because it makes people not want to play their bunnies until it actually detonates, and maybe it won't detonate for a while. I haven't yet done that combo, but it intrigues me. That's my number 2, Cruise Missile Prime. What's your number 2, Chris?
I want to change my order.
I can't change the pictures around.
Well, they're very close. I'll go with what we have, but I could go either way.
I think
my number
right.
2, my number 2, I put Holographic Bunny. At the time when it's just red and beginner set, Holographic is very hard to deal with. It's just, I mean, it has a very similar vibes when somebody plays Heavenly Halo and beginner set, except there's less things that can kill it. I mean, they do exist, but they're very obscure things which can be avoided by clovers and other sorts of things.
5 cards.
It's a 5-card thing, and if that's all, if that's all there is between 3 boosters, I like my odds. And it's one of those things where I like having a secure blanket towards the end of the game. If I play Holographic with maybe 3 or 4 carrots going, I feel really good about being part of the end of the game.
Holographic doesn't count for the end.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, shoot.
Well, that may be.
But indirectly, certainly, because you'll have a bunny that's difficult to kill, so you'll be able to play more aggressive cards, which means you'll be able to kill the other player's bunnies, so they won't be able to kill yours, so on and so forth. Yeah, indirectly, yes.
Yeah, I misspoke. Oof. Oof.
Unless you're talking about Ancient Star rotting it.
Well, I'm just thinking out loud because I feel like if you have it towards the end of the game, you're likely going to be able to summon other bunnies as well because you're playing cards to keep your opponents at bay. Sometimes, like, you get 3 carrots left and you play that last regular blue Gleeful or, blue Sinister or whatever you play. It's just because the target for Matthew to kill at the very last second. But if you have a bunny that's immune, so you can kind of hit other players while you're going towards the end, then it works out.
Psychologically, in some sense, it does have an even greater indirect effect towards the end game, because if you have Holographic plus 1 other bunny, it's not actually quote-unquote that likely in an aggressive meta for that other bunny to be targeted, unless you're in the really late game, because the whole benefit of killing an opponent's bunny is that they can't play cards. but the holographic bunny lets you play cards anyway, so therefore the second bunny isn't that important until the very end game. So in that sense, players may ignore you for the duration of the mid game, and therefore you're in a good state in the end game anyways.
Yeah, you're trying to save me from my misspeaking, and I regret it now.
You're still saved by Ancient Star Rod regardless. That makes the bunny count. Also makes it vulnerable, but you could save that for the last turn. There's
Yeah,
outs.
yeah, it's just like having a Halo buddy, except Halo counts towards the end, right?
Yeah, it's a reverse Halo.
It's a reverse Halo, same category. It feels nice.
Put a rank on it.
Put a
Oh
rank on
no.
That's, you could have said that and I would have been freed. I could put a rank on it in my last turn. I'd play a bunny from my hand.
Well, there you go.
Oh,
Put a rank on
hey.
it. You definitely won't get punished for putting a rank on it. Oh wait,
Undergrounds. Oof.
actually I was the one who put the rank on your holographic that game.
Yeah.
More on that next episode when we talk about looking back on our predictions for London. We finally had the Undergrounds be relevant and it actually won me a game.
Hey!
Yeah, but we kind of let you have the Undergrounds.
I traded for them. I traded a lot for things that are essentially worthless. I traded a lot.
Ooh.
Is winning the game worthless, though? Maybe we just have them undervalued.
But out of 5 games, they've been relevant 1 so far,
Yeah, but
and
we
they
did draw
stole
3 of them.
they stole 1 bunny.
More oyster crackers, I think, is the key to that.
Yeah, pretty much.
More stations! More oysters!
Anyways, more
More
on
senators!
more on that in next episode. So we'll look
More
forward to that one.
senators!
More senators. I'm actually
'Cause
going
that'll make it relevant.
on that episode. I'm actually going to make a very interesting comparison between senators and Undergrounds because they're actually
What are those?
quite similar.
What's the technical term for those arrows that make you draw in between turns?
Side cards.
Oh, more side cards!
I wouldn't mind more side cards actually.
Actually, yeah, that one does feel really bad. Wasn't there like 6 of them?
There's 12.
Oh, I wasn't that far off.
Yeah.
You were half the way there.
Yeah, but you keep adding expansions.
Six colors.
12 feels like 6.
Yeah, 6 colors, 2 on each. And it's like, okay.
Oh no.
I never teach side rules. That's the one rule that I don't teach that's actually relevant.
That's a sad day for me because I don't think I've ever been taught
I
side rules.
I have a couple
And here I
times,
am
but
on bunny.
you still haven't seen it happen. I have told you a couple times. You'd remember if I showed you.
Okay.
Okay, that was the holographic bunny. Chris's number 2. Mikey, what's your number 2?
Clumsy Congenial may be placed on any congenial bunny which, while opening a package of Melba toast, flings 2 sharp pieces in the opposite directions, instantly killing the 2 adjacent bunnies. I like this card for a couple of reasons. One reason is say that your opponent has 3 bunnies, and the one in the middle just happens to be a congenial bunny. Well, there you go. You've now killed 2 of their bunnies. That's awesome. Another thing is if you cannot directly target an adjacent opponent's bunnies, and you have a congenial bunny, either that's your only bunny or the bunny on the edge. We'll talk about this if it's a bunny on the edge of yours. You can then play it on your congenial bunny, and it can indirectly attack and kill one of your other opponent's bunnies while also killing your own, but sometimes maybe that's worth it. The other thing is if you only have 1 bunny and it's a congenial bunny, and you're playing in a one-on-one situation and that person has 2 bunnies, look at that, you killed both their bunnies. Or maybe you have playing in a 3 or more situation, look at that, you killed 2 opponents' bunnies. That's a beautiful day. This is just all around, I think, a good card.
Killing 2
It
bunnies
reminds
on 1
me
card?
of what's it called? It's the barrier card, the exploding shockwave.
Oh.
It's very similar to
We
shockwave.
don't talk about Shockwave. Oh, it's a ban list. The 3-player
Nah.
Shockwave is more toxic than the 3-player Jarnac. Thank goodness it has the yellow ball with red stripe. Especially when the opponent forgets
More
it has it.
senators.
More senators. Okay, that was Clumsy Congenial. Very efficient removal for bunnies. It's always fun when the situation comes up that Mikey described with the opponent with the congenial bunny in the middle and you punish them. Yeah, it's like you should have played around it.
So never play a congenial bunny in the middle.
That's right. Unless you're playing passive.
Yeah.
Misplays or just passive plays that haven't been discovered yet.
True. I played a game with Andrew King just not too long ago, and he started to express interest in passive. He's like, I don't understand how it's viable at all. I'm like, you just watch.
Watch
I'm
it
stoked.
work. Chris got spooked when Quincy and I were playing passive at the start of a full set game. But then we both transitioned to full freight train, so I don't know what happened. Chris was just left in the dust.
Didn't you both just get smushed by me in that game?
I don't remember who won. I'll have to look it up.
I believe
I think
was
you won. I think you won.
That was a prophecy, wasn't it?
That was a prophecy, Carrot. Yes.
Wasn't that like I got like 50 carrots and then you all lost?
It was.
I feel like you look it up.
Let me see if I can find it quick. I don't know if I've logged it yet. It might be on my phone.
I feel like that was a smushing.
Let's see. That was.
It was a
There you go.
presto game.
Oh, I won that game.
Oh, sad.
Look at that. I won that game with 25 carrots. Quincy stole your 5. You did not have a bunny at the end.
No.
Didn't you
What
get?
happened?
It was a full freight train on my side and full hidden investments on Quincy's side.
I don't remember what happened.
It started double passive. It was toxic.
Oh.
It became a non-aggression pact, aggressive alliance.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
It was a smushing just on me.
That's right. Okay.
Oh no.
That was Mikey's number 2 pick, Clumsy Congenial. Moving on to the moment everyone's been waiting for, the number 1. My number 1. Yay! You need a voice like in the Dice Tower from what's his name? Number 1. I cannot do the voice. I cannot do the voice justice, but check out the Dice Tower. Excellent board game channel. I've actually been keeping up with them recently. But the person who does that voice for the countdown, excellent. We need to hire him.
They should pay us now, actually, because we just advertised for them.
Ha! There you go. I'll call up Tom Basil. Be like, hey, yo, we advertised for you on your podcast. He actually likes Killer Bunnies. For the wrong reasons, but he likes Killer Bunnies. At least he did in the past. Anyways, number 1. My number 1 pick. The Mystery Urn. Oh no.
Boo.
Oh, Mystery Urn. It's such a fun card. You know, what you do in Remix, Mystery Urn is especially toxic because you can, in Remix, there's only 300 cards, so you actually see it more often. Very commonly, I will buy the Violet Pawn in Remix just to play around Mystery Urn in case it's drawn. And I usually get rewarded for it, is the fun part. Just buy Violet Pawn, lol. You know, once we get Almond Crisp, quadruple Violet. Play around Mystery Urn.
Just buy pink, lol.
Just buy pink. Yeah. Quadruple Violet Pawn. Easy. And then, you know, very commonly with Mystery Urn, if you want it to go a long time, you know, you want to make sure to get more in the pot. If you accidentally roll a 12, just re-roll it away. You know, you have stuff to lose. You probably have some mysterious places you don't care about. It works out very nicely, you know. It rewards preparing for it. You know, if you prepare for it with the Violet Pawns, the re-rolls, and having a bunch of irrelevant things like the mysterious places, which are very low value, and the Zodiacs, which are relatively low value too, since it's only a 1 in 24 chance they'll actually do anything, you know, you can afford to lose a few carrots as well, and some low value bunnies. You can really take some high amounts of value from the other players. And the pot will grow and grow, and finally you get your 12, you take the whole pot, from there you just go full freight train aggressive. Huge transition move. Very impactful card. Play it from behind if you really need to. You can also play it where I have nothing to lose. So I'm just going to play this and hope that everyone else loses everything.
But Matthew, what if you can't roll a 12?
I don't need to roll a 12 in that case. I'm not planning on succeeding. I'm planning on everyone failing and starting the game over because delay of game is a fair and balanced strategy, right? That's when it becomes a game. No,
I've been thinking about it. It does have a certain Atlas Shrugged vibe to it.
Oh, a little bit, yeah. A little
bit
less consistent, but still works in an 8-player game. So
it belongs in a top 20 list.
Value. Fun fact, Ice 9 will make this roll every result be a 9, so you could Ice 9 someone and they'll fail every time.
Oh, no. Imagine having a triplet with Ice 9 and Mystery Urn.
So there we go, we found another aggressive case of Ice 9. The common Ice 9 plays are Super Supplies, Incredibly Magic Fountain. No, Mystery Urn. Ice 9 someone, Mystery Urn them in a 2-player game. They are guaranteed to never roll 12. And the game will either restart or you will steal the pot. There is no other alternative.
Imagine playing that in 2-player.
How do you like them urns?
Oh my god!
2-player Ice 9 Mystery Urn.
Ice 9 Mystery Urn.
Now it's a triplet.
Deal with it. Oh, nasty.
I love it.
There we go. That's my number 1 pick from Red Boosters. Still incredibly relevant in full set. That's why I love about these high value cards. Mystery Urn. Chris, what's your number 1?
I put Red Gleeful. It's a classic card. And although Metal Exchange hasn't been determined yet, since it's just red, the whole concept of buying pawns for cheaper, buying cabbage and water for cheaper, or for free a lot of the time, makes it feel really good. You combine this with complete full set and you get defense cards, and you pick up one of those milks and you get infinite milk, and it feels really good. Oh, such a good card. Such a good card.
The intended metals exchange exploit, the intended exploit that Chris briefly referred to is, since the Gleeful Bunny must spend his dollar immediately, you cannot save it. All you have to do is sell metal for $3 and buy it back for the Gleeful Bunnies $3. You essentially, as long as you have the metals available, are able to save the Gleeful Bunnies $3, which is a staple dollar management strategy within full set. Makes the red Gleeful critical to any dollar saving strategy. Yeah, very high impact, very important bunny to watch out for. And buying defense cards is toxic.
Yeah, that was a disgusting game where we actually decide that defense cards are good, and then we just keep buying them.
This current, as a full set, there is 41 defense cards. You are not going to run out. Unless
I also have decided that in the last few games that we've been using defense cards more than pawns.
Yeah, our group used to be a pawn meta, then it transitioned to a metal meta, where
it's still semi-metal.
It's still semi-metals. Buy the metals first, then we would buy the pawns, then we would buy other things like cabbage and water. Now it's more so transitioned to, we buy the metals, we use the metals to get defense cards. Once we finally have enough defense cards and cabbage and water to justify it, we then get the pawns. In our group, the black pawn has actually lasted in the pawn shop until the very late game, which is.
And it didn't matter.
It was unheard of in our group to not have the black pawn be purchased like right away. And all of a sudden, the meta has completely shifted in terms of dollar management strategies, where the pawns are considered less critical. We'll see how that changes once Almond Crisp comes out 2 years from now. When we have two of each pawn, maybe it'll be even less so, because like, oh yeah, I don't need to get black pawn, it'll be their next turn anyways, because nobody's going to buy 4 blacks. Or maybe they will. There we go, staple. Red Bunny, the red Gleeful. Absolutely the most toxic part of the extra super red.
Ooh.
Just buy defense cards, lol, and it'll never die, it'll pay for itself.
It's true.
It's so true. If
Still waiting for a carrot with 1 defense card on it.
if this bunny survives for, say, 3 turns, it's not going anywhere for a long time, at least not by the normal means of feed the bunny or weapons. That's how this bunny is critical to aggressive freight train strategy.
Yeah. Wait till we get to pink.
Oh, pink Gleeful insta ban.
Super pink.
Super pink insta ban. When we get to the Onyx booster, it'll be a question of, can I have 2 ban cards? Can I have 5 ban cards? Let's also ban Woburn, Watering Hole, Cabbage Patch, and Angry Ho.
Watch me put red as my number 1, but pink is my ban, or vice versa.
I need 6 ban cards in Onyx.
So, speaking of Angry Ho, I just heard that mentioned. So, the last game that I played, I had a super orange congenial, and I had 20 clover on it.
Oh.
And I also had Forever Fed. And then I
Oh.
played Angry Ho, and it was only a 2-player game. Then I played Angry Ho, so that got rid of all the captains. That was a fun time.
Nasty. Mikey went full immortality strats.
Yep.
Unity, precision, perfection.
Well played. Okay, the final card. Mikey is number 1. What is it, Mikey?
Da, 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 da. The Mysteryer.
Yay! Poor Chris.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
I used to be just like Chris. I used to hate the Mystery Urn. I would never play it. I thought it was a terrible card. And then I started recently teaching people, or not necessarily, these people had played Killer Bunnies before, but it was the first time that they had played full set, or at least the full set that I have. It's being remedied though. Anyway, so this was the first time that people had played with more than just blue and yellow. And so the Mystery Urn came up. And, obviously I've been playing longer, so I know more about the game than they do. And so you tend to just do a little bit better if you know the game better than other people. And I would feel kind of bad, these people, I might be dominating you. So the past 2 times I had the opportunity to play the Mystery Urn, and I decided to do it, because this is a way that you could potentially give somebody who's failing a lot of carrots without actually helping them, because there's an equal chance that you're going to do it, that you're going to get everything as well. And so they don't feel, it's kind of like it's kind of a strange version of a passive strat almost. Or it could be an aggressive strat, or it could be a neutral strat. I don't know.
A bit of king making.
Yeah, but you play this card. If you get all of the bunnies and carrots that have been put in, it was just luck. They're not going, most of the time, they're not going to judge you, and they're not going to target you for that. But you can also give people bunnies and carrots if they're not doing so well, and it doesn't look like you're pitying them. And so I, of recent, have really enjoyed this card.
Matthew, Mike, you said the L word.
Oh, snap. Oh, I'm actually slightly surprised that Mikey has turned over to the dark side and likes a gambling card.
I know this is the one up, but see, he has an opportunity. Some other cards, I guess, like the Mad Baker has an opportunity to benefit me or to harm me. But I think the difference between this and the Baker is that if it doesn't benefit me, it's more than likely going to benefit somebody else. And that's why I think I'm willing to gamble with this card versus the Baker, where if I lose, it doesn't benefit anybody. I mean, it does in a way. I don't have any more. I don't have a bunny anymore, probably, possibly, but it doesn't. What's the word I'm trying to think of?
It's the gambler passive strategy combined with the alms from the poor passive strategy where you give everything away that you have. As opposed to the gambler combined with attrition where you destroy everything that you have. You're giving things away instead of destroying them. Oh, it's a different form of the passive strategy. The giving things away is actually more passive by definition, which is exciting for passive play. Uh, Even if you succeed in the mystery, and if your intention was to do this passive play and you accidentally, in quotes, very big quotes there, accidentally roll a 12, you could just give some of the rewards away, split the difference. You say, I really didn't want this pot. Let's just split it up between the players that have been nice to me. This player's been aggressive the whole game. We're not giving him any of it. But let's just split it between the players that have been nice. Form this pseudo alliance. Maybe if I just be nice here, they'll be nice there, and all that fun stuff. It fits perfectly into passive strategy, which is unique. This is a high value card that fits into passive strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Value.
It's a good card. Shouldn't be banned.
Excellent. Another excellent example of why we can never implement a house rule of a ban list. Last episode was on house rules. A ban list is another way of saying, I don't like this card, but the problem with not liking a card is someone out there does like that card. And if you form a ban list, you are infringing on that person's strategies and play styles. There might be, I highly doubt it, but there might be someone out there that really likes the Jarnac. Frank, there we go. Frank likes the Jarnac because Frank did the passive play with the Jarnac. There we go. Found it.
It was very relevant in our last game.
Actually, yes. In the 3-player Jarnac in the last game that we played, Christy played the Jarnac between me and Chris. But the reason she did that would normally be the uber passive play, but she had followed the queen. So already nobody could target her.
Yep.
So therefore, I couldn't target Chris couldn't target me, neither of us could target Christy, so therefore we could only target ourselves. Because a normal out to the Jarnac is to target the other opponent with a ranged weapon, it also hits the player you're Jarnac against. In this case, I could only target myself, Chris could only target himself, Christy could target whoever she wanted. Unfortunately for her strategy, the violet die was rolled, another reason to get the violet pawn, and the queen was no longer following her, the queen was killed. All of a sudden, it's an actual 3-player Jarnac situation where she was the only one who could be targeted. Feels bad.
Yeah.
So almost.
It's a shame we didn't. It's a shame we didn't get the red expansion sooner.
Oh yeah, we can blame Playroom for that one, but thank goodness for Ultra Pro that they are keeping it in stock.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt your thought. I just thought about that while we were talking about this.
Oh yeah.
It used to be $150 on Amazon. Now it's down to what, 50 to 60 on eBay.
It's currently in stock on the Ultra Pro website if anyone's looking for it.
Right.
I don't think it's in stock on Amazon, but the Ultra Pro store has it. So there you go. If you're
Thank.
looking for red, it's there. Last I checked.
It was on eBay, but it has been selling for $50 or $60. I think 70 used if you want it.
Oh, nasty. It's probably an Epsilon version anyways. You don't want that.
Amazon's got it out of stock, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe no, 56.
Uh,
Ouch.
Let me check real briefly to make sure that I'm not misleading, saying red boosters in stock on the Ultra Pro website, because it was last I checked. If you go to ultrapro.com, shameless advertising, you can see buy now on the red booster, and it is in stock. In fact, Ultra Pro currently has a sale going on. So you can even get it for $12. There you go. If you're missing any Killer Bunnies expansion right now, Ultra Pro has a huge sale on all of their stuff.
Buy it!
Buy it! Killer Bunnies boosters for $12. That's value. They're normally $15.
Buy it! I'm sad we didn't get it till later.
Oh yeah.
It
Always,
felt really bad not to have the red pawn.
yeah, buy the boosters in the correct order. It's important. The red dye is what you're thinking of, Chris. Red pawn
Oh,
is
sorry,
actually
yeah, red
in.
dye. Yeah, thank you.
Red
Thank you.
pawns in orange. We lost our original red pawn. My full set currently has the red pawn from Remix, and Remix has a red pawn from a completely different game. It's
Oh,
complicated. My full set also is missing the small carrot card Arnie, so I salvaged an Arnie from my starter set.
Oh
Oh no.
no wonder Arnie never won.
I know. We don't know how long it's missing. I discovered it last semester. Or yeah, that's right. Oh no.
Hey, you can buy the Playroom Entertainment Killer Bunnies Deluxe for $699.99 on Amazon.
Killer Bunnies Deluxe. That's starter.
It has
through...
a certificate of authenticity by Jeff on it, though. It's number 1169 out of 1500.
Yeah.
Wow.
The deluxe set is starter through chocolate.
Yes.
So just get the boosters from Ultra Pro instead. They're cheaper.
But those don't have Jeff's autograph, though.
Well, you can get Jeff's autograph. Those aren't hard to come by. If you ask nicely enough.
Oh, better yet, you can get one on eBay for $1,300.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Anyways, anything
It's
else?
even brand new.
Anything else we want to say on the wonderful red booster deck before we close off here?
Buy it!
Buy it! Okay. So thank you everyone for listening to Bunny Banter today. This has been the Red Booster review. Looking forward to next episode. We'll be looking back at our predictions of London. So we'll be having one of the guests that we had for our London speculation. That should be Joseph, creator of the Discord, as long as plans don't change. So look forward to that one. We'll be talking about were the bunny ground stations relevant? Do the British bunnies actually matter? You know, all those fun things with analysis of full sets from the couple of games that we've played so far. So look forward to that. If anyone has any future topic suggestions or would like to be a guest on a future episode, feel free to contact me by whatever means you so choose. I believe smoke signal is the most accurate way, although I'm in a different location now, so you have to redirect your smoke signals to a different place. But I'll be watching for those. But in case you don't have the equipment for that, then I think the Discord or Facebook will work just as well. Or send Mikey a homing pigeon.
Did you tell the people that you have added London to the
Yes.
Tabletop.
London Booster is officially in the Tabletop Simulator mod. I made an announcement on the Discord about that. I don't remember if I made one in the blind circle. But yes, if you want to play with London Booster, or any of the boosters for that matter, Tabletop Simulator is the place to go to. The Killer Bunnies mod. There with permission. Thank you, Jeff. You can play Killer Bunnies for just the low price of $20 for Tabletop Simulator. Or 10
Plus every other game in existence.
plus every other game in existence, which may or may not be there legally. But Killer Bunnies is.
Yay!
So there you go. Not piracy. Anything you'd like to say, Mikey?
Yes. Make sure that you guys are practicing social distancing. I know that's really a difficult thing, especially when you're a Killer Bunnies fan. You know, you want to get together with your friends and have Killer Bunnies parties and things like that, but don't do it. Refrain. Get Tabletop Simulator. You can play with the entire world, although I don't think that would probably fit on Tabletop Simulator.
You can
Mikey,
fit.
didn't
You
you
can
just
fit
have a
8.
Killer Bunny party?
Anyways, just remember to stay safe.
That was with
you
his
guys.
family. It's fine. They're quarantined together.
I hope we're quarantined together. Although I spend a lot of time in my room, I don't know, maybe they're gone. But anyway, well, stay safe, guys. Just make sure to practice your social distancing, and we'll hopefully get through this faster than is anticipated. And other than that, Jeff bless.
Jeff bless.